Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Pre-Market Info.
Market down a little bit here again. I think we were down a little bit yesterday morning. We've seen how that ended up. It ended up running and running and running and going higher, higher, higher. Has that happened here again today, or what do you think?
One relevant number on the upside. Yesterday's high in the S&P, 1648.75. We got the 48.50 in the pre-market, so another potential double top, but we know what's been happening to those. Coming back on the downside, Globex low 1644, minor support, but I don't think this market's in any kind of trouble until we break below 1641.
This market is just strong, and all that strength coming out of precious metals. Gold down here again today. Cannot seem to get a rally going. We're now critically going back and looking to get under the 1400 area, possibly in the futures, and the June futures, that is. If this breaches 1400, it doesn't look that good technically.
I've been looking at this gold chart here for quite a few days, and been noticing we had a rebound off the low of the move at 1321.50, got back up to 1487.20, and now it's just kind of been a slow leak down. But what I want to alert our traders to is, first of all, 1404 represents the 50% retracement of this move. And that is backed up by a double bottom that you had on April 22nd and April 23rd. We've hit 0590 in the pre-market. So I know we got a lot of gold bugs out there. This is your point. This is the moment of truth here. You got to hold this 1404 level. If not, we're going back to test the lows of the move. But what's going to drive gold higher? I mean, higher interest rates? When's that?
Fear is the only thing that really drives gold, and we don't have any fear right now in this market. Everybody, it's the exact opposite here. People are fear not being in equities. Every time we pull back on any stocks, they seem to come in and start buying them again. So hard to come into gold here when there is no fear out there. But things can change quickly, like obviously, we're starting to move, like when you're moving up 16, 17 S&P points, maybe you're getting a little bit of capitulation, but who knows? This bull market could go on for a while, and as long as the equities keep rallying, I think there's going to be pressure on gold. We do have some earnings here today we might as well get to. You got the chart already up there. Deere reported earnings here this morning. Pretty good numbers all around. 276 versus 272. 10.9 billion versus 9.8 billion on revenue. So they beat on the top line, beat on the bottom line, reaffirm their outlook as well. But they don't care. They're selling the stock off. It's down $3 here. It's had a strong run into earnings, and often when they do have those strong runs into earnings, they want to see a beat a little bit bigger than 4 cents, and they didn't get it. So obviously the market was looking for more, and they didn't get it, and that's why we're down $3 here.
Yeah, caught right off the bat there. Dipped down to 89.10 and getting a nice recovery here back up to the $91 level. That's going to be a minor resistance here, so let's keep an eye on that. A little bit longer term, you're right. I mean, the cat and the deer. I mean, look at that move, man, from under $82, the low of the move, 81.58. Got all the way, climbed the wall of worry there, got up to 93.88 yesterday. Now it's giving some of it back. I do like this $91 level as a swing number. We did take it out in the pre-market. I think we get back above 91. We can start to get in towards yesterday's range. But below 91, there's not much in this 90 handle for traders until the 89.81 low on May 6th.
If you check out the chart of Caterpillar, obviously these a lot of people pair these two stocks up, Deere and Cat. But Cat actually yesterday was relatively weak. It was actually down yesterday. On the day, which was interesting. So I guess if you're looking at the cat action there, maybe, and the deer was going straight up and had the earnings run and probably running just because it had earnings, where cat was relatively weak. So now that pair, obviously Caterpillar's trading down a little bit here in the pre-market with the deer earnings because they do tend to follow each other a bit. But if you're using cat as a guidance here yesterday, maybe it was going to indicate that deer might not be as great as everybody thought it was going to be. So Caterpillar had a weak day yesterday, Deere had a strong day yesterday, but Deere is weak this morning, and Cat down a little bit in sympathy.
Yeah, 86.75 has been the low in the pre-market. We've recovered here back up to the 87.50 level. So being down yesterday, Cat doesn't seem to be as affected
Yep.
much today. But I mean, just these stocks have had some big runs here, and any kind of retracement in this thing, maybe an opportunity for a long entry.
We got Macy's reported earnings here this morning. Stock is trading just down here, or actually just up here about 50 cents. The numbers were 55 versus 53. They're raising the quarterly dividend by 25%, also adding 1.5 billion to their stock buyback program. So Macy's breaking out here. It's actually ticking above 48. Oh, does that? It got over 49 there. It looks like off the earnings report. Is that right, Joe? What was the high?
Yeah, so 49.02.
A little
Someone must
overshot.
have thought they were buying that stock immediately in the market in the pre-market here to boost it up to 49. I come back down to reality here a little bit. Finding support here at 47.82, but that's mild support. The stock has had a nice run as well. I believe that's an all-time high for the made yesterday. Keep an eye on the downside. 46.92 was yesterday's low. Quite a ways away from there, but be trying to protect some gains from this monster move up in Macy's. 47 is an important level. Keep an eye on.
Agilent reported earnings there last night, 77 versus 68. The guidance was a bit light, so they had a pretty good beat on the bottom line, but the guidance a bit light. Full year guidance 270 to 285 versus analyst estimates of 288. So I think that's why it's not up as much as you'd think it would be after that beat. 440 is where it's trading at here in the pre-market, up 40 cents.
44.95 got up to after the news was announced. That was a highs. We kind of pulled back from there a little bit. Looking at the daily chart here, the high of the move so far has been 44.78. So look for resistance 44.78, the high on April 12th, up to the 44.95 high from the pre-market.
Let's talk about Google here because they announced here overnight. Well, I guess they didn't announce, but Dow Jones was reporting that they're intending to launch a streaming music service. Google is intending. So it's up $8 here this morning on this news. This potential to launch the streaming music service. Obviously, this is putting some pressure on Pandora, which we'll get there to a second too. But first of all, Google, we've been talking about it. It's going to make a run. It looks like at 900 possibly this morning. We're only $5 away.
Yeah, I mean, 900 seems to be the magnet on this thing. 896.95 is the high we've hit in the pre-market, just kind of hanging out here at 895. I mean, there's no relevant resistance levels in this thing. I mean, you could use 900 if you're looking for a target on something like this. I mean, this is an announcement of something that may happen, so you might be a little bit cautious if you want to buy this thing up $8 off the open. I mean, it's obviously going to have a negative effect on Pandora as it's trading down here in the pre-market. Pandora hit 1605, getting a small bounce off that. Pandora's had a real nice run as well here. Yeah, from under $14, got close to 17 yesterday. Still 50 cents away from yesterday's low at 15.77. So we'll see if they can get this down under 16. If not, the Pandora bulls just may shake this off and continue to take this stock higher.
We have a ton of upgrades and downgrades here today. Let's start with BlackBerry. They're getting downgraded over at Bernstein. Stock trading down. I actually had a reversal day. We talked how critical that $16 level was. I wanted to see it make a new high yesterday on the move. It couldn't. 16.16 was the high from 2 days ago, and 16.14 the high. So now you have that dreaded little double top in place there too. Pulling back there, had a real weak day with the market being up. I guess some people maybe got the notes ahead of time. Bernstein coming out downgrading the stock today, and it's down another 30 cents here. So just like that, BlackBerry was looking pretty good, and all of a sudden doesn't look good at all.
Yeah, what's interesting on the upside, if you're going back and keeping track of your daily highs and lows, you had a 16.16 high on Monday, 16.14 on Tuesday. And then if you go back to May 3rd, you had a 16.11 high. So you had a series of highs just over the 16 area. Couldn't post a close above 16. Now that's one thing to take a note. And then yesterday it got whacked pretty good. Keep an eye. 14.92 was a low from yesterday. If you go back to May 9th, you had a low at 14.87. So you got minor support there. If not, we can break down under that level. You did have a low at 14.38 on April 24th.
The gap is gapping up a bit here again this morning. Citigroup giving them an upgrade. 41.43 was the high after the earnings there on May the 10th. Now we're looking at at the gap here, and Citigroup with the upgrade is pushing it right up against that high again. If you get above there and if it starts to really open up, I'll tell you the bogey on this is 42 bucks. So I'm looking in the book here in the New York Stock Exchange, 400,000 shares offered at 42. You know the high freaks are probably going to be leaning on that level in the 41.90s. If it takes out that 42, then it could possibly move higher than that. But I think you're going to see some initial resistance here in that whole old high area, and your major resistance up there in the 41.90s.
Yeah, I concur here. 41.50 pre-market high coincides real nicely with the high of the move so far. The day on earnings, 41.50, 41.43 was a high on that day. You got to love this $40 level as support. Three lows between 39.90 and 40.08. So protecting that gap level there down from the low of 39.90 back to the 39.29 high. So, I mean, these stocks are gapping up. They're squeezing the shorts, and they're just not coming back down as of yet.
Yeah. Well, that's just everything seems to not be coming back down as of yet. Clorox, which has been on a nice run, had a huge day yesterday, but Credit Suisse coming out here and downgrading Clorox after its big move up yesterday. It's down 50 cents here, trading at 87.67. Actually offered at 87.60. So it looks like a little pullback we're going to get in Clorox here this morning.
Right, looking closed right near the high yesterday, 88.23 high, 88.11 close. I mean, when you see a big green bar like this, the next day it could easily turn into a big red bar the next day. I'm not sure how much weight they carry in this stock, but 86.48 was yesterday's low. So if you're playing this from the short side, you still have a buck, a little over a buck away to get to yesterday's low.
Barclays looks like they're bearish. The online brokers are downgrading both E-Trade here, ETFC, and Ameritrade here this morning, AMTD. Ameritrade trading down about 60 cents, and again, like everything else, it had a huge run yesterday, giving most of that back here this morning on this downgrade on 338,000 shares. It's trading down to 22.11 right now, down 60 cents, so pretty big pullback here for Ameritrade.
Right, looking at yesterday's low, 21.99. Let's see how low we've got in the pre-market here. We did dip under in the after hours to 21.95. Haven't approached the $22 level yet. I think that would be my bogey here if I was holding on to this stock. Break below 22. Not much here. Minor low at 21.75, 21.77, but this 21 handle, once again, big green bar could turn into a big red bar.
What about ETFC? It actually had a pretty good run. It's been kind of on a tear here for the last month. It was down at 9.50, been up at 11.50 yesterday. It is down 10 cents with the downgrade here, but not getting whacked as hard as Ameritrade is.
Right, this one here, 11.56 was the high, close at 11.52. So getting a chance if you want to play this one a little bit closer to the resistance area here at the 11.50 level. Unfortunately, if it blows through there, real estate up to 11.82, which was a high on March 13th.
Also, Domino's Pizza here getting downgraded. Miller Taybook is downgrading DPZ. No trades here this morning yet to report, but it is offered down about 50 cents. This stock has been on an absolute tear, I feel like forever. Up at 59, closed at an all-time high, I believe, there yesterday. But this was another one. If you look back at the financial crisis in 2008, believe it or not, this stock got down at $2.61. So just incredible. If you bought it during the financial crisis, you're up a ridiculous amount of money when it's trading up at $59. And it just continues to run. I mean, I like Domino's Pizza. They got pretty good pizza. But holy cow, man, seems like they're reinventing the wheel here because this stock just keeps going.
Well, why if they get to 59, they had a 59 price target. I mean, that's pretty good. Why aren't they telling people just to get out and take their profit?
Yeah, Miller Taybook. So they're downgrading the stock, and their price target was 59, and the stock's trading at 59. So you're right. So if they're just downgrading it to a hold there, why not downgrade to a sell if the stock is at your price right now? So I don't totally understand that either. But I guess they just want you to sit on your money and make nothing on it. If they think it's going to 59, it's at 59. So interesting that they didn't downgrade to a sell, just to hold. But That's another story there with these analysts.
What's the PPI here? I mean, it's coming out. Is it going to have any effect here on the S&Ps? Let's
We
pull up
just
the
pulled
S&P.
back a buck here. Bring up the mini chart. We just pulled back a buck, so not having too much effect here overall. Bring up the pre-market charts and show that action. But 2.5 points we're down here. So pulling back a bit, but this market every time it pulls back, it seems like by the after we've seen this how many times, and we open down, maybe trade down for the first hour, and then slowly buyers start drifting in. By the end of the day, we're up 5 or 7 points on the S&P, or even more.
Yeah, I mean, it's down 0.7% here. I mean, very, very muted action. What happened to the days when these things used to move a little bit on these numbers?
Yeah, it seems like because of the economic numbers, you figure, when they come out here, well, if they're bad numbers, well, it just means we might get more QE. So, so that's good for the market. And if they're, good for the market, it's good for the market. So it's like the market wins no matter what, and the market goes higher no matter what. So these economic numbers do not nearly have the influence that they did like a year or two ago. They're just, people aren't listening to this stuff. They just want to own stocks. So it's hard, man. When you got buyers all sitting down below, perched, ready to put cash to work, it is very, very difficult for the market to pull back. And that is why the path of least resistance continues to be higher. So I don't know. Something eventually will derail this market. Don't kid yourself. We go up like an escalator. We always say we go down like an elevator. But I don't know when that's going to happen, and I don't want to fight this tape right now. So obviously, path of least resistance is still just higher. Chevron went ex-dividend, Joel, today. Just going to tell you, it had a dividend of $1. We talked about Chevron. We talked about that 124 level. Absolutely blew through it yesterday. Everything was blowing through and taking out resistance. But it found another resistance level at 125. Closed on the button there. Over 400,000 shares selling up there at 125. So closed on the button. Went ex-dividend. The adjusted close is now 124. It's trading down at 123.95. Obviously, if this gets anywhere in the upper 124s, I think you got those ex-dividend sellers all over the place.
Yeah, it took 4 or 5 cracks at that 124 level yesterday, and really on a low volume day, the high freaks kind of caved in and bought that 124, and it just floated up through the 125 handle. Now you're with your ex-dividend. You're coming down to buck. You're coming right into support here. The former tops, old resistance, new support. So look for support here at the 124 level. If in fact it holds that, expect it to sneak back up into the 125 handle, get back to that close at 125. I did notice looking at the volume in Chevron yesterday during that rally, it did seem to be a little bit lower volume here than the 2 previous days.
Just looking here over at Chevron too, though, like I know we look at it from a technical perspective, and you can say the 124 old support, old resistance often becomes new support. That's true from a technical perspective. You'd think that way, but there's a lot of other things happening here too. When you got an ex-dividend date, obviously those people that take the stock home, that's their scratch level is 124. So you've got to have that bogey as a number that there might be some resistance from those people who took it home ex-dividend, especially on a day we're opening down 3 points. So you got to consider the 124 overall, though, is a key number. So, you can use it as resistance. If it starts to take it out and go back up, you could use it as support. But either way, that 124 is going to be a big number. And then if it blows through, I don't see anything between 124 and 125. So I think you got resistance all over the place, though, in the high 124s from people who, are trying to get the ex-dividend and trying to scratch their trade. Apple here, Joel. I don't know what to say. It's like the counter market stock. Seems like the market goes up, and now fear, is gone from the market, so they start dumping Apple there again. Yesterday, Apple goes down $10. Market's up 17 points. Just broke the 450 key support level there. Psychologically, this doesn't look good. Technically, this doesn't look good for Apple. I think it's back up in that 450 area. Probably have a lot of nervous longs, probably that just are sitting on this big gain because we've run 60 points there from the bottoms. Probably going to be looking to lighten their position if we get back up in the high 440s.
Right, had the double top up at the 465, 37 to 75 level, and it just kind of hung out for 3 days. I think we made note of this yesterday. It just hung out in a 450 handle for 3 days in a row. I mean, that's pretty unprecedented for this stock with the volatility. And then when the market was just chugging along, going north, Apple turned around, took out the 450 level, You didn't find a lot of support here in the 440 handle. Like to alert our traders to 440.63. That was the low on May 2nd, so that could act as support today. Once you break before that 440 level, once again, 430 handle really
A lot of
littered with
air.
a couple, minor support levels. My bogey for this stock over the next couple days is going to be right around the four and a quarter level. That will earmark a 50% retracement from 385.10 up to 465.75. You come back, you settle down in this area. If it holds, perhaps providing a lower risk entry. I mean, what's lower risk in Apple here? But sure looks is starting to give a little bit back here of the move off the
Yep.
earnings and the 385.10 low.
Yep, and there's people that are sitting on some gains here, and they look like they were nervous yesterday and wanted to book those gains and put that money to work elsewhere. Market is pulling back $3.50 there on those economic numbers. I still think we're probably going to be the path of least resistance is still going to be higher. I think here. So what do you think going on today?
Yeah, they're just lightly selling this thing off. Still haven't made a new low from the session yet, 1644. I mean, don't see a lot as far as support level until you get down to the 1641 level. Coming back on the upside now that you had the close at 1648, Tuesday's high at 1648.75, and the current Globex high at 48.50. You got a lot of numbers there pointing to some resistance, and then also psychological. I mean, that's the only kind of resistance we can find in this is for all the crazy people that want to sell. 1650 could be a nice round number being targeted by some traders.
That's our show for today, guys. Have a great trading session, and we will be back with you with Walmart and Kohl's earnings tomorrow.